All right. Check one, check two. Let's make sure we're up and running. Everyone can hear, and then we can get underway. Chat seems to be working. All right. Happy Friday. Hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for accommodating the adjustment this week, courtesy of our friends at OddsShark. Check them out, oddshark.com. The capper contest picks for week 13 in the NFL are going to be going up soon. Your boy's in fourth, I believe. Hanging tight, had a nice surge about a month ago, and then have been just hanging on, hanging around. I've been lucky. You have to do 5 picks for this thing, and the favorite bet is worth 2 points. Everything else is worth 1. And I've been money, as I mush it now, money on that pick. Because I'm like 18 and 18 or something. That can't be right because it's 5 picks a week. That would be 36. 20 and 20. I know, 30 and 30, whatever it is. I wouldn't have picked 60 games by this point, would I? Probably. Irrelevant. The point is, I'm like 500 with the picks, but I keep nailing that one. And that's what's keeping me in contention for that top spot. Sunglasses on for that shirt. Yeah, Tom, you do. You do have to put your sunglasses on for this shirt. Since I moved back to Las Vegas from the Bay Area, I made a commitment to myself. A lot more floral shirts, a lot more casual cruise wear, even in the winter months. That's how we're doing it when, at least I'm inside. It's freaking cold out there today. Now, I know where I grew up, they would call me certain words I'm not going to say on the stream for saying this weather's cold. But I've been out west again. I did a 3-year stint in San Diego, and I've been back out now for, I don't know, holy crap, it's going to be almost 10 years. Vegas, San Francisco, Vegas. It's going to be 10 years soon. Time flies. But yeah, I'm going casual. I go casual now. San Francisco, those days are in the rearview mirror. We go casual these days. One of the things I love about Vegas, everyone knows the Strip. That's its own entity. Then you live out in the burbs and everything. Very casual, very relaxed. Renegade Western Town. All right, so one more adjustment. We adjusted the Thursday stream. This is the Thursday stream. We didn't have a Thursday night game, and Daily Wager got bumped up, so we had to move to today. And I appreciate all of you for accommodating that. That's number one. Number two, Sunday morning stream, we're going to have to move that as well. Daily Wager's going 90 minutes on Sunday from 9 a.m. Eastern to 10:30 a.m. Eastern. It's usually 9 to 10. And then I get home, race home, get everything set up, get the notes ready, and we do the rundown. We're probably going to go noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. So we're going to move back half an hour for Sunday's show. I'll be tweeting about it. The information will be there. Hair's out of control today. Looks really bald on one side and not bald on the other. Let's go ahead and balance that out a little bit. Get the equation right. What are we doing here? I got a haircut right after this, so that's why we're not really even all that concerned about the situation we're dealing with right now. All right, so that's the update. Number two, the recap. Went 2-2 Monday night. One with Carson Wentz under passing yards. Closed the tease, or actually didn't close the tease. Did a Seattle tease with Pittsburgh. That ended up cashing. Pittsburgh, you got to be kidding me not covering that spread outright. Those were the two winners. The losers were Lockett over receiving yards and Seattle. Got backdoored there. Great prices were available nonstop. We did the stream on Monday. We do it with the most accurate lines. The lines were 6.5. Bad price. Should have known better, but we take that loss and we move on. 2-2, which means the record now for the season, 100, 124, and 1. 24 games under 500. Need to get that to 500 by the Super Bowl. That's the goal, to get back to 500 by the Super Bowl. So the Sunday stream, the morning stream, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. We'll also do the Sunday afternoon stream to get ready for Sunday Night Football. Normal time, as soon as the last afternoon game goes final, we go live. And then Monday, we're aiming for 2 Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific like usual. But we got a bunch of we got 2 games, and then we got the Tuesday game. So we'll talk about all 3 of those games. All right, so that's the update. College football, 5 picks coming your way in just a second. First thing I wanted to do was run through some of the key line moves in the NFL. First number I'm going to give you is the look-ahead number, the point spread for this weekend's games that originated last week. Not at the beginning of this week, last week. Then everyone went out and played. Now we're here Friday with the updates. That's going to be the second number I give you. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the key moves that have taken place so we can start to marinate on some of the picks we're going to make this weekend. There was no line in Detroit, Chicago on the look-ahead. Chicago's -3. I'm leaning to Detroit there. We'll talk more about that on Sunday. Cincinnati is at Miami. Look ahead, the Dolphins were laying 10.5. That's now up to 11.5. So it's been Miami money driving the number. A lot of points for Miami to be laying. I know they're better this year, but whoo, Miami's laying 11.5 these days, huh? Cincinnati had some fight last week against the Giants. Colts, Texans. Colts are at Houston. Look ahead was 3.5, still 3.5. No movement there. Jacksonville at Minnesota. Vikings were laying 9. They're now laying 10.5. Interesting. That's another big spread. And Jacksonville has covered 3 of the last 4. Of course, that means you have to bet Jacksonville. You have to sit there and watch that game, which is very difficult. Washington was catching 11 on the look-ahead line against Pittsburgh. Loved Washington. I was a huge Washington fan on the look-ahead line. It just seemed like the big spot for Pittsburgh against Baltimore, and then their classic letdown. It was going to be a short week for the Steelers. It was going to be extra rest for Washington to get ready. They play good defense. Everything was setting up perfect for that game. And then the Ravens derailed it multiple times with COVID. Now the line is back out, and it's Pittsburgh -7. Yuck. Still might look to Washington. That look-ahead line was so much better. The Raiders were an 8-point favorite at the Jets. They got humiliated by the Falcons. It's now up to 9. Tells you everything you need to know about the Jets. Atlanta on the look ahead. That is now down to 3. Some places have it 2.5. Interesting one there. Atlanta is one of my favorite picks this week. We'll explain that Sunday. Cleveland and Tennessee. Tennessee was a 3.5-point favorite at home on the look ahead. That's now up to 5.5. Both teams are 8-3, but they're not equal. Cleveland's 8-3 with a minus 21 point differential. That's insane. If you're 5-5, your point differential should be right around even. If you're 10-0, your point differential should be plus 150. If you're 0-10, minus 150, right? If you're 8-3, you should not have a negative point differential. Now, if it's 3 games into the season, you're like 2-1 and you're -3. Okay, fine. You had 1 blowout loss and 2 wins. It's understandable. But 11 games into the season to be 8-3 with a minus point differential, yikes. There are some indicators pointing towards a Cleveland regression, but I want to put this caveat out there too. I applaud Cleveland. They've been a laughingstock and a punchline for 2 decades. It doesn't need to look pretty. They're functional this year. There's not a lot of drama. The organization looks competent. If this was the first year sports was ever played, maybe we wouldn't pick them to win the Super Bowl, but we would look at Cleveland and be like, they're not a bad franchise. Jets are a bad franchise. That's what we'd say. Bengals are a bad franchise. Those are staples. Cleveland, we'd look past it. If this was the first ever year of NFL football, you would not think the Cleveland Browns are a joke. So they deserve some credit. That being said, Tennessee's probably the play there. The Giants. All right, something's going on here. So the Giants were catching 7.5 at Seattle on the look ahead. Came back out, got pushed up, Seattle -9. All right, fine. Teaser protection. Now it's blasted through 10 and it's all the way up to 11 in some spots. I don't know what that is. It seems like there's something going on with Daniel Jones. I don't know if there's a COVID situation, but I'd be very careful there with the Giants because I was kind of liking them plus the points, and now there's a mess in that situation. That line is shot through the roof. The Cardinals were laying 1 on the look ahead against the Rams. Cardinals hosting that game. The game's moved 4 points. 4 points. The Rams are now laying 3. A lot of love for the Rams. McVay's been great coming off a loss, both straight up in ATS. Kingsbury is a disaster of a game manager when it comes to making crucial decisions. He seriously needs to improve that because people are going to get on his ass. He's lucky they're not terrible this year. If they were terrible, people would be calling for his head. But because they're kind of good, because of Kyler Murray, and the defense is a little bit improved, and DeAndre Hopkins, they have a decent record. So everyone's kind of letting Kingsbury slide. He makes lots of bad decisions. That's up to 8.5. No surprise there. But it got up to 9, and now there's a little pushback. Philadelphia might be the side. They've gone to Green Bay and won before. They did it last year. Everyone's going to be betting against them after what they saw on Monday night. They can run the ball a little bit. I'm just saying they could give the Packers some problems. Chargers were laying 1.5, hosting New England on the look ahead. That's now a pick 'em. Are you surprised? Look at the coach. I don't know if there's ever been a greater coaching discrepancy in the history of the NFL than this game this weekend. Bill Belichick, who might be the greatest coach of all time, and Anthony Lynn, who is so good at putting his team in a position to lose games. If there's a chance the Chargers are going to win that game, Lynn is going to make a decision that puts them in a position to lose it. And most often, they're going to lose it. By the way, the Chargers, has any organization in professional sports wasted more talent over a longer stretch than the Chargers. You go back to the beginning 2000s, LaDainian Tomlinson, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, when Vincent Jackson was there, Sean Merriman, my boy Lo Neal, right? Offensive lineman, defensive lineman, for days. 20 years of talent just getting ruined. And we're not even talking like, oh, they just, they didn't win a Super Bowl. Or like Aaron Rodgers has only won one. They don't even get to Super Bowls. One AFC championship game. Total waste. Denver was catching 13 at Kansas City. That's now 14. Shocker. People like Mahomes. And probably the most intriguing one, which was on Monday, Buffalo was a 2.5-point favorite over the Niners on the look ahead. It's now San Francisco -1. And that game's not even in Santa Clara anymore. That game's in Arizona because Northern California, very strict with what's going on with COVID. Niners can't practice there. They can't play there. So they've relocated the whole franchise essentially to Arizona to play where the Cardinals play for the foreseeable future. That's what they're doing. And the line's moving towards them. Why? The Bills' Achilles heel is run defense. 25th against the run, 26th in opponent yards per rushing. San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan, no one draws up a running game better than them. And you control the ground game, you control the tempo and the clock. Very important. So that's your rundown. Let's get to some college football picks. That's why you people are here. Hi, Abby. Nice to see you as well. All right, game number 1. Shark Mug as well, corporate guy. Game number 1 is Auburn +6.5 against Texas A&M. A lot of reasons I like this game. Last time we saw Auburn, they were getting annihilated by Alabama, so no one's going to want to bet them. So why is it that they were catching 7 and now it's down to 6.5, right? Think about that for a second. Obviously not the best price, but we're not going to give out fake numbers here. We're going to play what we've got. Catching 6.5, better at home than they are on the road, coming off a horrible loss. They embarrassed themselves in that game. There might be a little bit of value on the line. Meanwhile, Texas A&M, couple issues here. Number one, a lot of hype coming into the season. And outside of one loss to Alabama, they've won every game. So I think there are people who are looking at A&M and saying they're worthy, and they're having a good season. I don't want to bash it. I don't think they're as good as we're trying to make them seem. There are some issues there. Offensively, they're not that great. They don't move at a very fast pace. And Kellen Mond, the quarterback, who's good, look at the home road splits for his career. At home, completes 61% of his passes. On the road, 51%. He's completing only half his passes on the road for his career. At home, 45 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Incredible. On the road, 16 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. At home, he's averaging about 250 passing yards a game, 215. That drops to 204 on the road. Some of those games he didn't start, it was early in his career. But you see the splits on the touchdown, the INT, and the completion percentage. This is a road game. Auburn's coming off a horrific loss. They're catching a bunch of points against a slow offense. The quarterback doesn't play as well on the road, and I think A&M is going to start pressing here. I think A&M sees that they're fifth, that they need style points, that they beat LSU like 20-7 or 20-3 or whatever it was last week. That didn't impress anyone because LSU stinks this year. That didn't impress anybody. And they're going to start feeling like they need to impress. That pressure is not a good thing. That is not a good thing. You do not want everyone in that locker room. Look, you should be focusing on the win, doing your job, living in the moment, making plays. Don't be thinking you need to run up the score because that's when you get caught. That's when people start pressing. You're thinking about all the wrong things there. I don't know if I trust Jimbo in that situation. Auburn +6.5, play number 1. Play number 2, going back to the well with one of my favorites this year. West Virginia +6.5 at Iowa State. Love West Virginia's defense. Number 1 in the Big 12 in scoring defense. Number 1 in the Big 12 in total defense. And you might think, it's the Big 12. Like, those numbers can't be great. Less than 18 points per game. Less than 300 yards per game. What is it? 17.8 points and 274 yards a game. This defense is legit. They're fast. They tackle well. They've got everything you possibly want, right? They play good defense. Offensively, that's where the issue is. They've also been off for 3 weeks, which could be seen as a bad thing. They were supposed to play Oklahoma last week. If you remember, that was a game we really liked, catching all those points at home. That game's not happening. I think it's happening. I don't know if they're rescheduling it, but it got called off. So it's been 3 weeks since we've seen West Virginia play. That could be an issue. They're going to Iowa State. They're playing a very good Cyclones team. Matt Campbell is a tremendous head coach. I think this is too many points. I think this is going to be a tight affair with that West Virginia defense. And remember, Iowa State is coming off that huge road win at Texas, right? it's easy to overlook a team like West Virginia. When you're in the Big 12 and you're Iowa State, you're looking at Oklahoma, you're looking at Texas, probably thinking a little bit about Oklahoma State maybe. West Virginia, they don't really carry the same cachet. You come off that huge win against Texas, doesn't matter if Texas is down, it's still Texas. It's a big win for a program. Then all of a sudden you turn around, it's a home game against West Virginia. They're not that great. Be careful. West Virginia plus 6.5, play number 2. Plays number 3 and 4 both come from the same game. It's Alabama LSU. So I'm not going to lay all the points with Alabama. It's like 29.5. I am going to play a combination of the under, which is 66.5, and I'm going to play Bama in the first half minus 16.5. So this comes down to a variety of factors. Number one, I don't have the number in front of me, but Nick Saban in like these revenge situations, when a team's beat him the year before, he pummels them into annihilation the next year. A lot of handicappers will tell you the revenge angle, it's already baked into the line. You're not going to get an edge there. I agree in almost all situations except Saban. It seems like he takes it personally. We saw it last week with Auburn, right? So Saban's lost 5 times in his Alabama career to Auburn. And now, coming off that loss the following year, he's 5-0 straight up, 5-0 against the spread, winning by an average of close to 28 points per game. Like, that tells me something. Even the big line still came out and annihilated them. And I know he wasn't on the sidelines. Come on, he's still overseeing the team, right? It's still his team. So this is tough for the team, in my opinion, to get up again to try to annihilate another opponent. That's not saying they can't. If you told me I have to make a pick between Bama or LSU in the 29, I'm probably taking Bama. But I prefer the under because the Bama defense has been incredible. Last 4 games, they're giving up an average of 8 points per game. Not 18, not 80, 8. 8 points per game over the last 4 games. They've been awesome. And this LSU offense stinks. Oh, by the way, the best player on the offense, wide receiver Terrace Marshall. My handwriting sucks. Terrace Marshall, I don't know a ton about him. I'm not going to pretend to be a scout. What I do know is he's their best weapon. Last week against Texas A&M, 10 catches, 134 yards, and the only touchdown. Guess what happened this week? He opted out. The best player on the offense, which is a lousy offense to begin with, but this kid can play, opted out. So he won't even be in this game. So LSU already stinks on offense. Their best offensive player just opted out, and they're going against what probably is the best defense in the country that, oh, by the way, really wants to stick it to them after what happened last year. Good luck scoring points. I'd probably play their team total too, which I think is like 16. Team total under for LSU. I don't see them doing a whole lot in this game. But the 2 official plays, Bama minus 66.5, or Bama under. The game under 66.5. Bama's going to get theirs. I think defensively they just absolutely stifle LSU. And I think Bama comes out hot and jumps all over them early. And then late in the game, they play good defense. They run the ball. They get the hell out of there. Kind of why I don't want to lay the 29. So Bama first half minus 16.5. And Bama LSU under 66.5. Those are picks 3 and 4. Final pick, kudos to BYU and Coastal Carolina for getting together this weekend. This is awesome. This is absolutely awesome. So if you don't know the story, both teams are undefeated. Here's a little fact for you. We've never in college football history had 2 teams that are 9-0 or better play each other, and neither one of them is ranked in the top 10. Neither one of these teams is top 10. They're both 9-0 or better. I don't know what the official records are, but they're cruising. Both undefeated. Neither one's in the top 10. BYU, Coastal Carolina, whatever, committee, you do your thing. But Coastal Carolina was supposed to play Liberty this weekend. College Game Day was going there for because Liberty and Hugh Freeze have had a great season. And then COVID hit Liberty and they had to bail. And in a very quick turnaround, Coastal Carolina and BYU got it done. Because BYU's been looking for people. Because they're trying to beef up their schedule. They're undefeated, but they haven't played anybody. Power Fives are ducking them. They can't get games, and they'd like to contend for a playoff spot. Plus, Zach Wilson has had an awesome year at quarterback, and they would like him to be invited to New York, I guess virtually, for the Heisman Trophy. So in like a matter of 24 hours, they get together, they figure this thing out. BYU's equipment man got in a truck in Provo. He's driving all the equipment across the country. I mean, like, this is college football at its finest. I don't want to see anyone lose this game because both these teams, like, this is coming together to get this done is awesome, and it's all for our viewing pleasure. So I'm going to bet the over. I don't want to bet against anyone in this game. I'm betting scoring. BYU is averaging over 40 points per game. They've hung 40 or more in 8 of 9 games. They got an awesome offense. The Chanticleers, a fierce rooster, a fierce and proud rooster, the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, not Chanticleers, Chanticleers. They're averaging 38.6 points per game this season. Both these offenses can score. BYU's defense poses a big problem for Coastal Carolina. It's one of the better defenses they've seen this year. All right. And this is one of the better teams that BYU has faced this season. But I think the short turnaround benefits the offenses. Because offensively, if you're good and you don't have a ton of time to prep, come out and do your thing, right? Let it rip. Defensively, you got to try to figure out how to stop these guys. And if you have less time than normal to do that, I think you might end up having some problems. So just let it rip on offense. That's what I'm thinking. We're going over 61.5 BYU Coastal Carolina. And again, applaud to both teams for getting this together. And by the way, next time when we're in this post-COVID world and maybe we get back to some form of normal based on what life was like before this, next time I hear, oh, Nebraska and Washington State have agreed to a home and home. The first game is in 2037 and the second game is in 2038. Get the expletive out of here with that. Everyone's getting together, making games in 24 hours now. I don't need you to make an announcement that you've agreed to a home and home 17 years down the road where kids who aren't even born yet are going to be playing. Okay? So no more of that college football. Get it done like this. And I get it, fans, you want to promote games and all that. It can't happen this easily. I get it. It's just a little bit of a rant. I don't want to see any more of this crap about, oh, home and home. 2062 and 2063, Florida State and Arizona State are going to have a home and home. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? This right here got it done when it mattered most. So I applaud that game. ESPN College Game Day is going to be there. That's awesome. Speaking of ESPN, 30 minutes of daily wager today. Only a 30-minute show. We're in, we're out. 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. Your boy will be on ESPN2 today. So that's what we got cooking there. And then we're back Sunday. So thank you. Recap on the picks. Auburn plus 6.5 over A&M. West Virginia plus 6.5 over Iowa State. Bama LSU under 66.5. Bama in the first half minus 16.5. And BYU Coastal Carolina over 61.5 total points. Those are the 5 plays. We will be back Sunday morning, but remember, we're pushing it back half an hour. Daily wagers going 90 minutes Sunday morning. So we're going noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. All right, Sunday morning, the NFL rundown, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. And then we're back Sunday. Have an awesome weekend. Enjoy the games. Enjoy your Christmas shopping, Hanukkah shopping, Kwanzaa shopping, whatever shopping. Enjoy it. Get it done. Be safe. And I'll see you Sunday morning. Thank you for coming.